All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel, the main event here. And today we're going to be talking about the Vancouver Regional Championships won by James Evans and his Gouging Fire team. Brings us to the question of the day: are you surprised Gouging Fire finally won a major event? At first, I thought it had only not won any North American major events, but then I went and checked Cut Explorer, which has the results of all the majors we've had so far. For Regulation F, where Gouging Fire has been legal, Ali Ente won the first one. And you'll see a trend of fire types winning that are not Gouging Fire. Incineroar and Hearthflame won. Liverpool, Incineroar and Hearthflame won. Melbourne, Incineroar. Knoxville was Incineroar. Gouging made finals though. James Evans did bring it to finals, and that was about a month ago. Dortmund was Incineroar. Utrecht was Arcanine. Hisui actually made a little research. Arcanine Hisui won a major before Gouging Fire did. Gionia, I hope I'm saying that right. Apologies if I'm not. Incineroar won again. And Vancouver was Gouging Fire's time. So we're going to talk about James' team a little bit and why I think it won and why it was so good, essentially. So it starts with the Gouging Fire, obviously, right? So just a regular standard Gouging Fire set: Heat Crash, Breaking Swipe, Howl, Burning Bulwark. But it's the way that it kind of worked, right? Because this team is a little bit different. I know it looks very conventional on the surface, but I think it was very, very optimized for this event, and that's why James was able to do so well. I want to start with the Rillaboom. It's a metal plate Rillaboom, so it already does more damage than normal. What I noticed with a lot of people is they don't ever use Gouging Fire to enable their Rillabooms, right? That's not something you normally see. With Fake Out, you can get off your Howls very, very easy. The Rillaboom was also very bulky, so it's taking a lot of hits. But with Fake Out, you enable your Gouging Fire, and with Taunt, you prevent it from being like Spored, right? Which is usually something that Gouging Fire has to worry about because I'm pretty sure Heat Crash doesn't kill the most Amoonguss at like neutral, and Terra Fairy doesn't give you the immunity to Spore. So this helps protect you. Fake out the Amoonguss on one turn, you can Taunt it the next turn while also boosting up your Rillaboom, which already has really good damage, which also gets multiplied more by the Metal Plate, right? And then Woodhammer and Grassy Glide, it only moves it needs because it hits the water types. Gouging Fire hits the grass types. It hits the dragon types with Breaking Swipe. And Woodhammer with Metal Plate in grass, boosted by +1, plus like Breaking Swipe, does a lot of damage to dragon types, like a lot. So it's actually not like you're missing out on that damage into like Raging Bolts and stuff, as we did get to see on stream. Now this King Gambit, usually when you see the King Gambit with like the Terra Dark swords, they have Sucker Punch stuff. Usually Terra Dark with the black glasses for like the most damage possible. With this one is Terra Dragon. I think the reason it's Terra Dragon is because of all the fire, water, grass, and usually King Gambit, even with a Defiant boost, has a really, really difficult time with like Incineroar, unless you have a defensive Terra. So I think that's primarily what this was for, right? Because you don't beat the Incineroar any other way. Because Flameless still does a lot of damage too. I think it's like a 2-hit KO into most Gambits anyway. So, which is like where Kowtow Sucker Punch does not KO Incineroar even at +1. So I think with this, you can take those Flare Blisses, let it chip itself down, Kowtow Cleave, and then kind of win that way. Fluttermane was very, very standard in its set. However, this Fluttermane was very, very bulky. Obviously, we don't have the V spreads with us, but we watched it survive a Rillaboom Woodhammer in grassy terrain on stream, which is not something that we're accustomed to seeing. We thought that he was essentially trading his trading his Fluttermane for damage on the Urshifu at the time, but no, he dropped the damage on the Urshifu and the Fluttermane survived, meaning that the Rillaboom had to or the Urshifu with the Rillaboom had to go after it again. So he got to get another attack off, and then he got the free switch. It was actually insane for it to survive on 1 HP. So I would recommend going back and watching it. I'm trying to remember if it was finals or if it was in top 4. I can't remember, but that definitely happened. It was insane to watch. Speaking of Fluttermane, her sister, Ogerpon Wellspring, was on the team as well. This one really shined in his set versus the side spam team that he played, because he had Gouging Fire plus Ogerpon. Like Gouging Fire is kind of the MVP of this team because it just enables so much, right? The Breaking Swipe helps keep the bulky Flutter alive. It enables the Rillaboom to do a lot of damage, enables the King Gambit to do more damage, helps keep them both alive with Breaking Swipe. Even like the Landorus, right, which has like sub, and it can sub to get the dashy terrain boost, and then also with the Breaking Swipe mitigate damage. The team was very bulky and very offensive. Somehow it was really, really insane, but also like consistently outspeeding stuff. I don't know how he beat his mons, but it was a stroke of genius. But the Ogerpon really got a chance to shine in the set where he played against the side spam team, because he would just Terra and get the special defense boost and just howl and just start blowing stuff up. He was faster than everything. Special defense boost so it meant that the psychic attacks couldn't just kill it. They had no resist to water, I believe, either. So he was just blowing stuff up like consistently. It was really, really, really dominating. That performance was. The Lando was probably his MVP of finals though, because it was the only thing he had to beat Brady Smith's Raging Bolt with. And the set that he lost to Lando really early was the game that he lost to Lando really early was the game that he lost in finals, because it was a 2-1 set. In game 2, he lost Landorus really early and he couldn't make his way back through the Raging Bolt, essentially. He tried his best with the Rillaboom and the Gouging Fire and stuff, but he just could not get through it because it just wasn't doing the damage strong enough. And he kept getting intimidated down because he didn't have the King Gambit either, right? So it was just really, really hard. But game 3, he was much more careful with his Lando, and they made a really strong call at the end of the game and they were able to win him the set. I do suggest going to watch those, watching all of top 8 really, but watch James Evans sets in particular to see how he piloted this team. It was actually like really, 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 really well done. So congrats to him. Something else that this team was able to accomplish is that it was just really good into what the meta ended up being, right? So I'm going to show you guys something here. This is the day 1 usage of Vancouver, right? As you can see, Fluttermane and Ogerpon Water for the top 2 used Pokemon, Incineroar being 3, Posing Landos being 4th, Raging Bolt, and Rillaboom being 5th. Not surprising like at all. Turns out I think that this was Urshifu Rapid Strike. This was Tornadus. So technically Tornadus was kind of back. Tornadus Chien Pao, one of my favorite comps, is kind of back overall. Now, even if this is a Rapid Strike here, because they took away the names for some reason, it's still Tornadus Rapid Strike here. So Tornadus Rapid Strike or Urshifu Chien Pao as a genre was kind of back, as you can see there at these 4. And then Amoonguss and Heartflame, because fire types are good, grass types are really good. As you can see, 4 of them in the top 12. So they're really, really good. And the girls taking up their top 2 spot, as they have been for a couple of events now. With Incineroar being really close behind. And wait till I'll show you day 2. So this team ended up being really, really good into this meta because, for example, Rillaboom, Gouging Fire is just really good into these 2. Especially because a lot of the Flutters are timid. Like if they were like the old school Flutters that were like really, really modest, heavily invested, then no Assault Vest Rillaboom would just kind of struggle against that. But because that's not the case here with these Fluttermanes, they're all timid. Rillaboom can take hits like from them, right? Gouging Fire at +1, or even a Rillaboom Metal Plate Woodhammer just kind of nukes Fluttermane off the map, right? I don't know if you can even EV to live that at all in grassy terrain. I don't think you can at all. Breaking Swipe makes it so this does not really hurt the Rillaboom. It already resisted all of its stabs, so you just clear the Flutter. So Flutter kind of has to switch. So in that case, you can like fake out the Wellspring and like get up a Howl. And the reason I'm treating it like a tandem is because this is a very common lead as well. People like to lead their Fluttermane and their Wellspring for redirection, also for like physical special like support of each other. If it's Icy Wind, it'll have that, or it could just be a spec set. But so they like to run them together a lot. So like Woodhammer, Gouging Fire, just really good into this. Even like neutral Woodhammer does a lot to this. +1 Metal Plate probably just clears it. Even like Incineroar, here, it's not great obviously into like Lando and Ogerpon Wellspring. And like you can intimidate the Ogerpon Wellspring and survive its hits, but then Gouging Fire is here. And like even if you pick up the Gouging Fire, the Wellspring getting off a Ivy Cudgel it's still a 2-shot, even at -1 to Incineroar, because it's super effective. It's really, really strong move. 120 base power technically with the mass boost. So yeah, just really, 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 really strong. The Lando here struggles a little bit into stuff like the King Gambit, because King Gambit just does so much damage to it, like with Kowtow with the Sucker. It just puts a lot of pressure on it. But a lot of Landos are running sub now, just like this one is. So he even had an advantage into like other Landoruses, because you have to hit it with poison. I'm not even sure if like the poison one breaks the sub because it's resisted. Yeah, and a lot of Landorus for some reason they were forced to Terra in front of his team because Woodhammer was doing so much damage. Fluttermane does damage to them, Wellspring does damage to them, so they were forced to Terra a lot of the times. But then they become Lando food for him, and they can't touch his Lando when he could touch theirs. It was kind of interesting to see. He would really, really try to avoid hitting the Terra on his Lando in front of other Landos, and those Landos were not afraid to hit the Terra in front of him, and it put him at a great advantage. Obviously, Lando was really good at Raging Bolt. and it's good into Rillaboom as well overall, right? So his team was just a really good meta call. And then even if you switch over from day 1 to day 2, where look at that, the boys are back on top. Look at them Kings. Incid at 44% and Urshifu Rapid Strike at 44%, tied for first place, knocking Flutter off the perch and knocking Ogerpon Wellspring all the way down. But you know, it's not that bad for Flutter and Ogerpon because they won the event, right? They're still in the winning team. And these guys were on the finals team. They were the runner-ups. So it was kind of, I think the only one that was not in finals was Chin Pao. This was in finals, 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 this was in finals. But yeah, of the top 6, Chin Pao, yeah, so Chin Pao was not in finals, Amoonguss was not in finals, I'm pretty sure. What was the rest of Brady's team actually? Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Oh, here he is. Oh, so Chin Pao was in finals. He just didn't bring it to the match. Okay, so yeah, everything else was in finals except for, what was it, Amoonguss and Hearthflame Ogerpon. So Hearthflame was fine. He'd be all right. And Tornadus. So every other Pokemon here, except for the 1, 2, and 3, and 4, were represented in finals. So like their usage did convert really well from day 1 to day 2. Even though Flutter and Ogerpon Wellspring kind of dropped off a little bit. But actually, let's put them side by side. There we go. Put it side by side for you guys. So Ogerpon and Flutter did drop off. Flutter dropped off a little bit. Ogerpon dropped off a bunch. I don't put too much stock in that though, where like the conversion rate is like not that even, because sometimes what happens with these really good Pokemon is that just a lot of players end up using them, and a lot of players who may not have as much experience use them, so they kind of just, you know, fall off. And not to mention, when there's a lot of a Pokemon, they tend to go head to head, right? So when they go head to head, one has to drop off, one has to go on. You go again against head to head matchup, a mirror, one goes up, another one goes off. So 2 of them have fell off and one of them is like advancing, right? So I don't really put too much stock in that, especially for mines that ended up winning the tournament. But the drop off was pretty significant for Ogerpon Wellspring. I think the reason for that, for the rise of Urshifu Rapid Strike and Ogerpon Wellspring dropping off into a little bit of day 2, is that I think people just know that you can still just do whatever you want with the Urshifu Rapid Strike, right? Even with like Raging Bolt increasing, there are so many ways around Raging Bolt. So for example, you are usually going to run like a Scarf or a Mystic Water Set in this. With Intimidate next to you, Horn Leech on a bulky Urshifu was not going to cause any damage to you that much. Like it's probably like a 3-hit KO maybe if you're really bulky with the Horn Leech at -1. 2-hit KO at best though, right? It's never gonna one-shot you. And not to mention, you can fake out the Ogerpon and like Surgeon Strikes the partner. If you're running the Scarf, you can still do the same thing, or you can fake out U-turn, right? U-turn does like a lot of damage to Ogerpon and Grass. And then if it does pop the Terra at some point, you can Surgeon Strike freely. Yeah, it's resisted, but it doesn't absorb it, so it doesn't get any health, so it's much safer. So like Urshifu Rapid Strike is kind of safe in that sense. Not to mention, like, so Raging Bolt here, a lot of people are running like the Calm Mindset, so they have a little bit more bulk, a little bit less special attack, I want to say. You can EV to live a Thunderclap, and we saw that happen on stream. I think Neil's Urshifu survived the Thunderclap, maybe. I hope I'm correct about that, but I'm pretty sure it was his. And a lot of people are running defensive Terras now. So Steel, Grass, Fire, stuff like that. People are running defensive Terras, and I think we'll be able to look at that in a second. So you can survive those Thunderclaps, get a U-turn off, get a close combat off, get a lot of damage in, because close combat still does a lot of damage to this, and if it's Terra Fairy, Surgeon Strike does a lot of damage. So it's still a really good mod in that sense. I'm not to mention with the Ogerpons and like Amoonguss, there's still redirection for Thunderclap stuff. So it's not as threatened as people thought it was. People just got spooked by Raging Bolt, I want to say, but it's still a good Pokemon. As you can see, it converted really well from 26% or maybe 21% all the way to 44% the next day. So in either case, it either doubled or it near doubled, because like I said, they took the names away, so we don't actually know for sure, which is pretty amazing. And also with Incineroar back on top of the #1 used Pokemon for an event, at least for day 2. Let's see if it continues, right? Because he's usually been hovering around the 2, 3, 4, 5 range, like 30 to 40%. This is like the highest I believe it's been. I have to double check them. I believe it's the highest that it's been. Also, you know what I just noticed with this? I don't think any Pokemon fell out. Usually sometimes with the top 12 usage of day 1 and day 2, there are Pokemon that fall completely out of the meta on the day 2. nothing dropped out here. So like both Urchifus are here, Fluttermane's here, Champow's here, Ogerpon's here, Lando is here, Raging Bolt is here, Rillaboom is here, Amoonguss is here. People just realizing how good defensively the grass types are generally right now. Tornadus is still here. It actually went up in day 2. Did everything go up in day 2? My goodness, Amoonguss went up, Rillaboom went up, Urshifu single strike potentially, well, definitely went down because no matter which one it is, this is lower. Heart's Flame went up, Incin went up, Ogerpon went down, Flutter went down a little bit. Chiampow went up, and yeah, that's great. No, this Raging Bolt went up. So yeah, but yeah, all the 12 Pokemon are exactly the same. All right, so I'm not sure if this is gonna show up in the recording, but it might this time because I can see it. But so yeah, day 2, 36 teams, 16 Incineroars. I actually want to look at the Urchifus and look at their Terra types. Okay, so look at this. This is what I mean. 9 out of 16 Urchifus in day 2 were Water Terra, and there were 3 Steel, 1 Fire, 1 Ghost, 1 Grass, 1 Poison. So there were a lot of defensive Terras. I think the poison type was Aaron Trailer. Aaron Trailer had a poison defense Urshifu for like Fluttermane stuff. 11 of them were Choice Scarf. 3 of them were water type boosting move. Aaron Trailer with the Choice Band, and 1 with a Focus Sash, which is like a really good item on it as well. And then I want to see the Incins, the Flutters, and the Ogerpons. So Incin was 11 out of 16 Ghosts. I'm a big Incin Ghost believer. I've been using it since like day 1 of Incin being back. Grass is really, really strong, and Water is also really good. Safety Goggles really picked up this event. I guess people were just hip that Amoonguss was going to make a comeback this event, which I think is always safe for any regional, right? I feel like Safety Goggles is an item you can never go wrong with, because Amoonguss, no matter how much people try to claim it's going to fall off or it will fall off, people will sneak it back on their teams to team check you, right? Because if you don't have an Amoonguss check, it will just beat you. Like that is going to happen at every tournament you go to. If you think Amoonguss is not going to be there, you are wrong. So a lot of people ran Goggles. A couple of people ran a Sylvester, which I think is also very, very good, because you just switch out U-turn. You can click like Snarl instead of knockoff as well to really, really mitigate the special attacks on the other team. Citrus Berry also really good, to keep you alive longer. There was a couple of Will-O-Wisp Incin, more than one in day 2, like 4 of them, which is interesting because you don't see Will-O-Wisp on it a lot. Look at his teammates. Urshifu Rapid Strike, 12 out of 16. This is his biggest teammate. Fake out Surging Strikes. The tail is always time, baby. It's the tail is always time. The Fluttermane, all Fairy Terrors, no defense. Booster Energy and Choice Specs, very common. 1 ran Perish Song, 1 ran Sub, 2 ran Taunt, which is picked up a little bit like in prior events. So very, very common other Fluttermane stuff. You see its biggest partners are Incin and Ogerpon, because like I said, remember I mentioned in the beginning, Ogerpon and Flutter being a very, very common lead. And where is the Ogerpon Wellspring? That's what I want to look at, to see what moves it was running. Okay, so just all of them ran the same exact set. So very, very consistent mon. Any surprises in day 2 at all? You know what? There's 4 Goldingos, which was a bit surprising. Ursaluna, because like Goldingo is weird because sometimes it just like pops up and drops off, and it pops up, and then like it was in top 4, right? It could have made finals. So like if it would have made finals again, it would like just like, why does this Pokemon keep popping back up? Yeah, I know he's good, he's great, he's the make it rain boy, but it's just interesting to see the way he doesn't ever completely die off, right? 4 teams, there's not plenty in day 2, but it made day 2 on multiple teams, right? And it's only 36 teams, so 4 out of 36 is not that terribly low of a percentage. Even if you go to like the top 128, there's 12 Goldingos in it. Top 128 includes like day 1 teams, of course. And I actually want to look at the top 8. Oh, yeah, there was 1 Goldingo on top 8. So yeah, there was 4. The way it ended up chalking out from the day 2 usage that we went over here, over to the top 8 mons. There was 4 Ogerpons in top 8. There was 4 Urshifu Rapid Strikes in top 8. 3 Amoonguss, 3 Champow's. Champao Ursh is looking probably stronger than even Tornadus Urshifu, which is because like I guess with the defensive Terra that people are using on Ursh, the Champao helps boost some of that damage, right? 3 Incineroars in top 8. 3 King Gambits in top 8, which is I don't want to say surprising because people have not been running King Gambit as much, because like we mentioned, it doesn't necessarily beat Incineroar. It's supposed to defer to fight, but Incineroar kind of just beats it. I wonder if it's because because people are using and also Lando Eye makes it rough, but people are using Flying Terror for Lando Eye and Dragon Terror for Incin and stuff like that, so that kind of makes sense. Even though Dragon Terror also feels kind of rough in the meta where there's a lot of Raging Bolted Fluttermanes, so still you have to play really well around those for your King Gambit to cut, and obviously if you're in the top 8, you played really well. And back to the star of the show, Gouging Fire, who the only one Gouging Fire in top 8, ended up winning the event. And if you look at it, right, Gouging Fire not in the top 12 on day 1, not in the top 12 on day 2. If you go to day 2, there's 6 Gouging Fires, which is it's actually really good, right? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's 13th most used Pokemon in day 2. In the top 128 teams, there's 21 gouging. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's the 13th most used mon in the top 128 as well. So it's really good placement overall for the mon. Only one in the top 8, but it did win the event because, like I said, its defensive typing just really good. It just enables so many things like the Rillaboom, the King Gambit, Urshifu if you have it, but on the championship team, obviously, it was just the Rillaboom and the King Gambit, and the Ogerpon Wellspring. It just enables them to do so much more damage than they could normally do on their own. It helps mitigate those Intimidate drops, which were really common in finals. It just enables the Fluttermane to survive longer, enables the Rillaboom and the Ogerpon to survive longer, even enables the Landowai to survive longer, hit stuff that they have trouble hitting with each other. Really good Pokemon. I look forward to seeing its usage probably even climb now, right? I think a lot of people were on the fence with gouging. People thought it was bad for a while. Some people were really strong believers of it. But it didn't have like the result. It came in second place with James, but it didn't have the win result. Right now that it has the actual win, I'm curious to see how it develops going forward. Anyway, question today, are you surprised Gouging Fire finally won? Let me know in the comments below. That's all I got for you guys today. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.